Okay, בשעה טובה. So now we're continuing פרק קט"ו, פסוק ד'. עצביהם כסף וזהב, מעשה ידי אדם. עצביהם come from the word עצבים. עצבים are the nerves, the efforts. Okay? Their efforts, they put their efforts, they put their koach, they put their attention into silver and gold. Chachamim tell us, the Mefarshim tell us what is atzabehem, talking about avodah zara. Avodah zara. Their belief and their focus is on kesef v'zahav ma'aseh yedei adam. Yeah, they give value and attention to the products of men. They have a mouth and they cannot speak. They have eyes they cannot see. They have ears they cannot listen. They cannot hear. They have a nose but they cannot smell. They have hands but they cannot touch. They have legs but they cannot walk. They cannot use their garon, their throat, their vocal cords. Whoever believes in that philosophy will fall just the way the Goyim failed. And then Israel betach b'Hashem. Israel have bitachon, trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ezram u'maginam. He is the one that helps you, and He is the one that protects you. Bet Aharon, the house of Aharon, bitchu b'Hashem. Also, Bet Aharon believe in Hashem, have faith in Hashem, and trust in Hashem. Ezram u'maginam. He helps you and He protects you. Yirei Hashem bitchu b'Hashem, Ezram u'maginam. Yirei Hashem, the fearing people, people that fear God, also believe in Hashem, have bitachon in Hashem, and Ezram u'maginam. Very good. So, just to put things in perspective, we need a small introduction. David HaMelech is introducing the concept of avodah zara, atzabehem kesef vezahav. The reason why Bnei Israel ended up, sorry, Chaz v'Shalom, not Bnei Israel, but humanity ended up falling for avodah zara is because they gave too much credit, too much value, and too much attention to kesef vezahav, to things, to commodities. And that created atzabehem, that created avodah zara, ma'aseh yedei adam, right? They overvalued ma'aseh bnei adam, the fruit and the product of the effort of man. Atzabehem kesef vezahav ma'aseh yedei adam. The Maharal explains, and he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave humanity intellect, the ability to think through, understand different layers in a situation, and not see things as face value. So he says, how can that be? And he brings everything as one package from Pasuk Dalet all the way until Pasuk Het. It's one statement of David HaMelech from Atzabem Kesef V'Zahav all the way into Kemohem Yosem Kol Asher Boteach Bהם. So he says, how can the mind, how can the intellect accept to serve and bow in front something you create and not something that has created you? Intellectually doesn't make any sense. So he says And I'm going to prove you that, says David HaMelech, I will prove you that, so that you understand. He says something davar nifla. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world in a very perfect way. There is not one thing in the creation that is for waste, that does not have a purpose. Kal vachomer, in man. Man has a purpose. He says, how did the mistake happen of Avodah Zarah? He says people started believing in different kohot, right? The moon, the sun, whatever it is, the stars. And then they wanted to take this power and infuse it in something that's physical. So they made a statue with eyes, with a nose, with mouth. But he says the Maharal, the purpose of the mouth is to speak, and they cannot speak. The purpose of the eyes is to see, and they cannot see. So how can we believe in a power that its essence is not serving its purpose? You have a statue with eyes, but they cannot see. You have a statue with a mouth and it cannot speak, nose, it cannot breathe. So it's not a mitziut, it's not real. Everything has a purpose. So if you have in front of you something that is created and does not serve its purpose, it's not real. Very strong message of the Maharal. If you don't see, so what is the deeper message? That if you don't see a purpose or a reason that serves your purpose in creation, in kesef v'zahav, this is avodah zarah. Once again, if you put efforts and trust and belief and energy into something that doesn't serve a purpose in your ultimate purpose to fulfill yourself in this creation, it's avodah zarah.
We need to register it.
Yes. This is the definition of atzabehen kesef v'zahav. Atzabehen kesef v'zahav. The same way the statue has a mouth and the mouth cannot speak, it's not a mouth. Eyes and the eyes cannot see, these are no eyes. You give it purpose, you give it trust, you believe in it, it's important to you. This equals to avodah zarah.
This is similar to when we learned in Kohelet about working out, right? Like, oh, we're not allowed to play tennis or this. Oh, as long as you attribute it to giving you a clear mind so you can learn Torah and
yes,
things like that.
If there
right?
is a purpose to fulfill your purpose, absolutely. Yes, exactly. Everything, says the Maharal, has a purpose. Kal vachomer, he says there is not one organ or one vein in the body that does not serve a purpose. And it's because it serves a purpose that it has an essence and it's real. That gives us also a perspective of Moshav Letzim. When you sit and you haki balash, like we say, you talk nonsense, you waste time, that by default, okay, is not serving any purpose whatsoever. And this is what Chachamim are so intransigent about it. Yes.
The other day you said that when a person lo alenu has sufferings, the first thing he should check is bitul Torah. So
No, second thing is bitul Torah. The first thing is averot. Second thing is bitul Torah. The Gemara in Brachot.
So if you speak what you said before, it's connected to sufferings. If you do hakibalash, then
if today the Yisurim only come because of bitul Torah, you're in good shape. Yeah. We're in good shape. But yes, exactly. Yes, it would fall in that category. Exactly. So says the Maharal, now David HaMelech comes and will destroy the Havamina, the assumption that Avodah Zarah, serving something that has no purpose and no essence in the world. And he says he's addressing 7 traits, 7 kochot, 7 madrigot, 7 layers, in a man, from top to bottom, from highest to lowest, from most important to least important, and big hidushim. So David HaMelech starts and he says what? Pe lahem velo yidaberu. Pe lahem velo yidaberu. Says the Maharal, the pe velo yidaberu, they have a mouth but they cannot speak. The pe, the mouth is used for the dibur, to speak. Velo yidaberu, they cannot speak. Says this is the highest level, the closest koach to the neshama is the dibur, is the speech. Like the pasuk says in the Rishit, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Adam the power of speech. Adam, we know the otiyot, pnimiot, right? The inside letters of the word Adam is mitpalel, right? We know that. We said it many times. Another proof that there is an intimate and direct connection between the dibur and the da'at, says the Maharal, is that the baby, when he is born, he doesn't have da'at. Yet he can see, he can smell, he can hear, he can taste, he can touch. But the one thing he cannot do is he cannot speak, because he doesn't have da'at. It's only, and we know that the da'at is the neshama. It's only once you have your da'at that you're able to speak. The more da'at you have, the more you can speak. When you speak and you're not speaking divrei chokhmah, you're not talking divrei da'at, you're contaminating your neshama. This is the sin of lashon hara and the sin of hakibalash, of devarim betelim, is that you're using your connection, your highest point of connection to the neshama for things that are not good. Not to mention what Chachamim tell us, and the Orach Chaim HaKadosh brings it, that we have a count of words in this life. We spoke about it. We only have a certain amount of words in this life, right? And once you say the words, finish, chalas, we leave. Except for Divrei Torah. Divrei Torah, they don't count. This is why Chachamim are very, no matzati tov laguf ela shetika. The only thing I found good to the body is to be quiet. Why? Because if you're quiet, your body stay in this world. Your body stay healthy. No matzati tov laguf ela shetika. So this is another chidush bekoach hadibur. And the dibur, the peh, is more important. And then comes the sight. And the sight is the second in the order of importance, because with the sight you can see very far, much further than what you can hear. And what you see impacts your nefesh right away. Right? So there is a tremendous influence, spiritual influence in the sight. So then it's the sight. After the sight, we have the hearing. Look, פלאים ולא ידברו, עיניים להם ולא יראו, אוזניים להם ולא ישמעו. They have ears, but they cannot listen. They cannot hear. And the hearing is under the sight because you cannot hear as far as you can see. So the spiritual power and range, right, is much greater of the sight than it is of the sound, of the hearing. Same concept with the reach. After אוזניים להם ולא ישמעו, אף להם ולא יריחון, they have a nose but they cannot smell. Same thing. The smell is something spiritual, but you cannot smell further than you can hear. You cannot. The smell has to be closer to you than the sound. And the sound has to be closer than the image that you're seeing. So we see that the range of the spiritual koach that has been given to us determines its importance. We're not going to go into the Gaon that we spoke in the past. We spoke about the Gaon in the Gaon is in a few places. Not to burden you, but that according to the Gaon, the Chet of Adam Arishon, Adam saying that Kadosh Baruch Hu took away his kochot. Yeah. No, it's in Kohelet. So that's the koach. That's the Seder of the kochot. I just want to open a parenthesis about the reach. The reach is something that's spiritual. It's something that's very powerful. Here, I just want to put in perspective, based on what Chachamim teach us about the reach, how important the shmi'ah is, the listening is, the sight is, and the dibur is. Sometimes when we put things in perspective. So there are two places or two mitzvot where we have a chiyuv, a mitzvah, to make the bracha of borei minei besamim. Right? The reach, we smell. Brit milah, we make borei minei besamim. And Motzei Shabbat, we make borei minei besamim. Chachamim teach us, and that's something, unfortunately, I see 99% of the people fail in the Brit Milah, is that we distribute borei minei besamim to everybody, but the most important that needs to smell the borei minei besamim, we don't give it to him. It's the Yerach HaNolad. It's the Baal HaBerit, the baby. Chachamim tell us, why do we make the bracha of borei minei besamim? I'm sorry, I'm using a tangent. I'm sorry, Mechila. My mind is of borei minei besamim, but I think that back it's going to be good for the perspective of things. Mechila. Why do we make the bracha of borei minei besamim by the Brit Milah? Chachamim tell us because the baby was smelling all the time, the neshama of the baby was smelling all the time the reach shel Gan Eden, the reach, the smell of the tzaddikim, of the Gan Eden, of the Olam HaEmet. Suddenly we bring him to a world that has the reach of Olam Hazeh. So the neshama of the baby is shaking, is confused, and it's bothered. It's bothered. And it's almost asking to leave this world. That's how bad the smell of this world is. We do Brit Milah, and we give him borei minei besamim so that he can smell something good in this world. and that appeases his neshama and calms him down. Somehow, somewhat, in translation of things, we confuse between the reach that we give to the baby with the one that we put in his mouth. Yeah, we tend to put wine and that became a minhag to calm him down. אבל בעיקר, the one that needs to smell the most, the בורא מיני בסמים. And Adarabba, be'ezrat Hashem, b'sha'at tova, to the next Brit Milot of everyone, it is important to make sure that the baby himself smells Borei Minei Besamim to appease his neshama. If we speak about Borei Minei Besamim, the Malbushe Yom Tov in Siman Resh Kav Dalet. Siman Resh Kav Dalet. The Malbushe Yom Tov explains that the reason why we don't say She'ehyanu al Borei Minei Besamim. We have a new perfume. Why we don't say She'ehyanu? Yes, Natalit or She'ehyanu, Tzitzit Katan She'ehyanu, Meklulav She'ehyanu, Matzah She'ehyanu. We don't make She'ehyanu on Borei Minei Besamim.
Tzitzit Katan She'ehyanu?
למה לא? כן.
I don't know.
בטח. Says the Malbushe Yom Tov in Siman Resh Kav Dalet, the reason why we don't say She'ehyanu on Borei Minei Besamim, it's because the Besamim uplifts the Neshama, goes direct to the Neshama, and is for the Neshama. And since the Neshama is always in the person and never leaves, you cannot make She'ehyanu. It's a hana'ah, it's a pleasure of the Neshama. And so you're not mehadesh nothing, you don't bring something new. And that explains why Chachamim tell us that we have to give the tinok, the besamim. Yeah, because it appeases his neshama. The neshama smells the besamim and says, you know what, this wine is not that bad. It's not that bad. There's also the Inyan, Yosef Chachamim tell us in the Midrash that Yosef HaTzadik, Rashi brings it, that when he was taken from his brothers to Mitzrayim, he was in a carriage of perfumers, right? Chachamim tell us, even look how Kadosh Baruch Hu takes care of the tzaddik. Even he brings him in Puranut, even if he takes him to Midat Adin and things that are not good, it makes sure that he smells good to appease the neshama. The Gemara in Masechet Nida, Daf Nun Bet Amud Aleph. The Gemara tells us the reason why we don't make Borei Nefashot Rabot. Why don't we say Bracha Charona? Okay, we make Borei Minei Besamim and we smell, right? Why we don't make Bracha Charona? You drink, you make Bracha Charona, right? After you drink, you make a Beracha. You eat, Kedei Ikul, you're Savea, you eat a lot. You make Borei. Why you don't make Bracha after we smell?
There's no shiur.
Hana'a Purta. Hana'a Purta. Because the Chachamim tells us it's Shebesamim Areach hu Hana'a Purta. It's a smell. The smell touches you, but never satisfies you. It never satisfies you. Like going to what you're saying. You can smell and smell and smell. You're always going to smell something with it. It's always going to have an impact on you. You eat at one point, you cannot eat anymore. You drink at one point, you cannot drink anymore. The Hasidim, the Minchat Eliezer Mumkatz, he says that if you want to do the Tikkun HaNeshamot, Le'ilu Nishmat, Le'akpid Besamim. You want to elevate the Neshama of someone, Arbe Hasidim say that. Say you have to make people make a beracha of borei minei besamim le'elu nishmat. Chassidut. Minchat Eliezer, a few chachamim kedoshim from Baalei Chassidim. You have a yortzeit, you have a askara. It's good to everybody makes berachot. Bring borei minei besamim. Tell le'elu nishmat borei minei besamim. And you say Bishut Rabbi Elazar Mimunkach, Bishut Minchat Eliezer, right? That said this Hidush Be'ezrat Hashem, that should be, those brachot should be an aliyah and tikkun la neshama shel. Davar gadol meod. Davar gadol meod. Davar gadol meod. So, la halacha, like we said, we don't make borei nefesh. Ata Zabach, Hamagen Avraham, all the poskim say it's because you can never be satisfied. That touches the neshama directly, that the pieces of the neshama. So imagine now, I'm sorry, I want to, imagine if this is the power of the reach, the power of the smell. What is the power of the sight? What is the power of the hearing? The power of the speech? How deep inside the neshama it goes. We don't realize. This is the koach. The koach, when we look at something, the impact an image has on our neshama. The impact we hear something good or not has on our neshama. And kal vachomer, when we say something good or not good. Now, we finished the 4 elements, the 4 madrigot that are spiritual. The speech, the sight, the hearing, and the smell. Then Pasuk Zayin, David HaMelech, Yedehem velo yimishu. We have hands, they have hands and they cannot touch, they have legs and they cannot walk, and they cannot use their speech. And they cannot use their garon, their throat. Says the Maharal, under those 4 spiritual things that we just spoke about, we have the yadayim. Why? The touch. The touch, obviously, is something that needs proximity compared to the first 4, right? And therefore, it's the lowest in that category. It says, but it's better than walking, than the legs. Because when you touch, you include somebody else. You touch something else. When you walk for yourself. There's no interaction with anyone else for anything else but yourself. Says the Maharal, when our bria, our creation, has for purpose, impact, and involve others in its hashivut. The raglaim, you walk, but you walk for yourself to go somewhere. But the question is, says the Maharal, why are the legs better than the throat? Lo yehegu bigronam. So he says the following. He says, when you walk, you make your entire body move. So although you don't interact with something else, but the legs involve the entire body. If you pay attention, it's davar nifla. Yeah, you can lift your arm, but not move your entire body. But when you walk, you include your entire body. So the raglaim, says the Maharal, do chesed with the rest of the body. The yadayim and the first 4 do chesed with others. The raglaim do chesed with the rest of the body. Now he says the vocal cords, the throat, says that there's a difference between speaking and the voice, the call. When you speak, right, it's the dibur, it's the pe. But your garon, your throat, brings out what is called a call, right? The call is the lowest of lowest because it doesn't include anything else. It doesn't have any koach. When you are, you didn't impact on nothing. Nothing. This is the lowest of all 7 madrigot. Lo yehegu bigrona. So we start from the pe and we finish with the garon. Look at the full circle. We start from the highest, which is the pe, and we finish. Now we have to know that the pe, there's Yud Kevavke and Adnut. We spoke about it. Yeah, the midat adin of the pe is the chituch haotiyot, when you use your mouth and your teeth and your tongue and you formulate words, and the ruach that you use inside, right? The neshima, right? The neshima, which is the neshama, right? The neshima, which is the neshama, right? That you use is the Yud Kevavke. In between, there is what is called the garon. This is what connects the two, the kol. So the kol, although it is the lowest kol compared to the rest, but it is the one that brings shalom between the midat hesed and midat adin, between the Yud Kevavke and the adnut. To come and teach us that never belittle even someone that is in the lowest madriga. By the way, we spoke about the first, if we go back to the Reach, we only spoke about the Brit Milah, we didn't speak about Motzai Shabbat. Shabbat, the Neshama leaves. Shabbat, the Keneged HaMachshava, right? Shabbat, right, is the 6 days, the 6 days of action, right? Shabbat is the Mahshava, Chashiva, right? I don't know if she has put it. No, okay. The Mahshava. Mahshava. So when the Mahshava, so in order to have the Mahshava, how do you impact your Mahshava? Through your Neshama, right? The Da'at, the Mahshava. And what is the Neshama comes from the Neshima. And the Neshima is the breath, right? So what do you use when you smell? Then when you breathe? Which bracha, what do you impact through what you impact the breathing? Through the Borei Minei Besamim. So on Shabbat we receive the Neshama Eluna, we receive the Neshama of Shabbat. It's living. How do I appease my Neshama that it's okay to stay in this world and not to be involved with and not to go back with the Neshama of Shabbat? Through Borei Minei Besamim. That's the Borei Minei Besamim we make Motzai Shabbat. Good? Okay. Now, the Maharal makes a... I'm going to try to go faster. Mechila, I got distracted. But the Maharal makes finds a few nuances in the words of David HaMelech. Pe lahem, enaim lahem, oznaim lahem, af lahem. All 4 that are spiritual, they have lahem. However, we don't say yadaim lahem. We say yedehem. We don't say raglaim lahem. We say raglehem. Lo yegu begronam. We don't say garon lahem. Right? So says Maharal, what's the difference? He says, to go back to the introduction, when you say raglaim lahem, they have, pelahem, they have a mouth, they have. A mouth they have. So what are you talking about? Are you talking about a mouth you can point out, or you're talking about the purpose of the mouth? When you say pe lahem, the pe you can see. Like for example, raglehem. When you say raglehem, they have legs. You can see the legs. Yedehem, you can see their hands. But the dibur you cannot see. So says Maharal, pe lahem. The mouth that they have is for the speech and they cannot speak. So says Maharal, we see that the first four, right? David HaMelech wants to point out the ruchaniut, the purpose of the mouth, the purpose of the eye, the purpose of the ears, and the purpose of the nose, which are all only spiritual. The hands, yedehem, raglehem, it's physical purpose. Things you can see, right? Because the purpose of the arms is to physically take and touch. Raglehem, walk, is it? So he says, okay, so now there's another nuance. If we look at the category of the physical traits, we have yedehem velo yemishun, raglehem velo yehalechu, right? The subject comes before yedehem, raglehem. But we don't say bigronam, geronam lo yehegu. We say lo yehegu bigronam, right? The subject comes at the end for the throat. Not like the raglaim and the yadayim. It says because the garon, when we say raglehem and yadehem, you can see them. The throat, you cannot see the inside of the throat. The vocal cord, you cannot see them. So we say lo yehegu bigronam. If you say gronem, geronam, which geron? Where is it? Where is it? So no, you say it's something you don't see. And the only way you can address it by saying lo yehegu bigronam, but it's still all physical, right? The call is physical. Says the Maharal in a different place in Netzach Israel. Everything we said now was in Gvurot Hashem. In Netzach Israel, he says that the mistake that the Goyim did to get to that is because they don't see refinement in the creation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Very, very hidush, very important. And this we see in the Korbanot. The Goyim, when they bring a Korban, if there is a defect in the eyeball, right, the animal is okay to bring as a sacrifice according to the Goyim. However, it says in Masechet Gittin, Daf Nun Vav, there's a machloket there whether what is the pgam in an animal, right? Is someone to say it's the formation of the pupil, the other wants to say the formation of the lips. Both, sell the Maharal, if the purpose of the eyes is to see and the purpose of the mouth is to speak, even though the animal cannot speak, but the mouth by definition, a mouth, right, refers to the speech, are both physical how do you say, damage, not damage, a disformation, okay, that we cannot tolerate. So also the Torah is so makpida to the perfection of the body of the Kohen that serves in the Bet HaMikdash. So says the Maharal, we are not worried and we are not scared. We're actually very proud to look for perfection in the creation so that we can serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu as perfectly as possible. There is no perfection. We are not perfect. Vadai. But we have to seek perfection when it comes to the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The second you start rationalizing or lowering your standards in your Avodat Hashem, that's when you fall in the mistake that led humanity to Avodah Zarah. Tremendous lesson. Tremendous lesson. If you say, that's okay, it's good enough. It's good enough. That's how we did Avodah Zarah. That's how humanity fell for Avodah Zarah. When it comes to mitzvot, when it comes to serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have to do the best. You have to seek perfection. This is the sword of Mehadrin Mina Mehadrin. This is the sword of the Shritat Bet Yosef. This is the sword of all the mitzvot that we do Behidur Rav. And finally, the Maharal says, Bet Israel, Bet Hashem, Bet Aharon, right? We have three levels. We have we have Yisrael, we have Bet Aharon, and we have Yirei Hashem. He says these are the three levels of interaction with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. David HaMelech says, we start Lolanu Hashem Lolanu. You think you're nobody? Israel, betach b'Hashem. You are the son of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. By de facto, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you and cares for you and will look after you. Israel, betach b'Hashem. And if that's not enough, and you think you need to work, so what's the next level? Bet Aharon. Bet Aharon. Aharon ze keneged midat ahava. Ze ahava. The Chesed, that's the Kohen Gadol of Yom Kippurim. Sheze keneged Chesed. We spoke about it, right? This is why the Avodat Yom Kippurim is only done by the Kohen Gadol and not the rest of the Kohanim. Nachon? The Kohen Gadol is Chesed. Ze Chesed. So, ze Avodah me'ahava. And if we're not even at that madriga, right, where we feel connected to God, we feel banim atem Lashem. If I don't feel the connection as a son, and I'm not serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu out of love, the other darga, the other madriga, the lower level is what? Yirei Hashem b'tchum Hashem. Serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu from yirah, from fear. All three are interactions with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. David HaMelech comes and tells us the highest madriga, the highest level to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is to feel that we're His son. And if it is not because of His son, then we have to have bitachon b'Hashem. We have to have trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If I cannot trust Him because I'm His son, then I have to trust Him for my actions. What madriga? If it's ahava, ahava, and if it's not ahava out of love, then out of fear. And then he asks a question. He asks a question. He says, "Why don't we say Bet Levi? We say Bet Aharon. Why would we say Bet Levi?" If you open, one second. You open Perek Tehillim Kuf Lamed He, that's the Perek Tehillim we say before Baruch She'amar every Shabbat morning, right? Hallelujah, hallelujah. What do we say? Atzabe Agoim Kesef V'Zahav Ma'aseh Yedei Adam, Pe Lahem V'lo Yidaberu, Enaim Lahem V'lo Yir'u, Oznaim Lahem V'lo Ya'azinu. There he says Azinu, he says V'lo Yishma'u, right? There's a difference between Ha'azana and Shmi'ah. Le'azin is to listen carefully. Lishmoa is just to hear sound. There's a difference. Here is in Kuf Lamed, he's talking about the Ma'ala of Am Yisrael and how great they are. So he's only focusing on the four attributes or the four levels that are Ruhani that the Goim don't even have. That's why he only says Pe Lahem V'lo Yidaberu, Enaim Lahem V'lo Yir'u, Oznaim Lahem V'lo Ya'azinu. They cannot, even if they can hear, they don't listen. The Goim Af Lahem V'lo Yirehu, and they don't smell. They cannot smell. He doesn't talk about Yedehem, Raglehem. Because right after he said, because he's only focusing on the Ruhaniut there. Here in our Perek Tehillim, he's focusing on what? On destroying the Avodah Zarah, that even in the lowest level, there's nothing. And then there he says, Bet Israel bitchu b'Hashem, Bet Aharon barichu et Hashem, Bet HaLevi barichu et Hashem, Yirei Hashem barichu et Hashem. We're missing one here. Bet HaLevi. So, answers the Maharal, because all the Hallel is all about praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bet HaLevi is Midat Adin. When we talk about praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we cannot tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're you're too judgmental. No, we only have to look at the ahava and the hesed and the tov that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does with us. This is why in this Teilim, in Kuf Tedvav of the Hallel, there's no askara. David HaMelech doesn't bring Midat Adin, doesn't bring Bet Halel. That gives us a little bit of understanding, in we didn't finish this perek, but at least in the Hallel, the way we say it, right? It's one thing. Then so Baruch Hashem. So we finished Pasuk Yud Aleph. We finished Pasuk Yud Aleph. Then we continue. Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech Israel, which is on the Hallel another perek, but in the Teilim is part of the same perek. Bezrat Hashem. Hope. I'm sorry if I zigzagged a little bit.
Spectacular.
Beautiful, Rob. Thank you. I'm running to move my car with my wife.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bezrat Hashem.